and welcome. This is Lunchtime Politics, coming to you live from Channels Television's global headquarters here in Lagos. I am Bukola Koka. The headlines. Federal government brokered reconciliation meeting between Dangote Refinery management and PENGASSAN leaders stalls as parties reconvene today at 2 p.m. In what appears a show of support for the unionists, the Nigeria Labour Congress places its affiliate unions on red alert amid the ongoing disputes between Dangote Refinery and the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN. Federal government set to arraign publisher and former presidential candidate Mr. Sowore on a 5-count charge for allegedly making false posts against President Bola Tinubu. Welcome once again. And as we start off, the reconciliation meeting between the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN, and Dangote Refinery Management, which stalled yesterday, is set to reconvene at 2 p.m. today. The Ministers of Labour and Employment and the Finance Minister previously met with the oil workers and Dangote representatives in Abuja. Their goal is to resolve the impasse that triggered PENGASSAN's declaration of a nationwide strike. The workers accused Dangote Refinery of unlawfully retrenching Nigerian staff and denying them the right to unionize, allegations the management has vehemently refuted.
This meeting we have not yet concluded. There are issues that we are still addressing. So we are reconvening later today in the afternoon to continue with the meeting. I think we have made a lot of progress. And I do, by tomorrow we should be able to.
As you could see, we've been here for about 9 hours trying to find solutions. And we've had numerous deliberations from the larger team. We broke into a smaller team trying to find solutions. But unfortunately, there is no solution tonight. Because all we want is that we have 800 people plus that are at home. These people, they are fathers, they are mothers, their career is at stake. When you terminate people the way you've terminated them, it will be extremely difficult for them to find job anywhere. Some of these people are trainees, and you said they have committed sabotage. So if they go home like that, there is no other company they will get job to do again in Nigeria because they have seen them as saboteurs. So these are careers that will be damaged if proper remedy is not put in place. So that is why for us, our position has been very clear. You have to reinstate these people. If you reinstate them tonight, we will call off our action tonight. But unfortunately, that reinstatement did not happen, and we were not able to reach conclusions on the subject. So they have asked us to come back again by 2 o'clock today. We are already on Tuesday, 30th September. So we'll reconvene, and we pray that God should touch the heart of the capitalists. God should touch the heart of the oppressors for them to call our people back to work. So as it is, just as we have communicated, the strike continues until we come back again tomorrow and see if we can find solution to the issues.
At that meeting, the finance minister also explained the government's vested interest in the matter, despite the dispute being between workers and a private entity.
We need to limit the damage to the economy of this action. We need to wrap it up, we need to resolve it, and we need to have workers going back to work. We need to have the gas flowing. We need to have crude flowing as inputs into production, which is where the economy is arrived at right now. where we are able to add value, where we are able to grow the economy, and we don't want that momentum to be broken. And that's why you see us here for 9 hours trying to resolve just one knotty issue, as the Honourable Minister for Labour and Employment has said. And we are optimistic that by tomorrow we will break the deadlock, we will resolve the stalemate, and we will put this issue behind us and be able to keep the Nigerian economy going forward as it is currently at present. It's important that we maintain the momentum of growth, of upward trajectory of the Nigerian economy.
PENGASSAN has vowed to continue its nationwide strike against Dangote Refinery, defying a restraining order from the National Industrial Court. In a memo signed by the General Secretary, Lumumba Okubawa, the union dismissed reports of any valid court injunction halting its action. Mr. Okubawa stated that the union has not been officially served with any court order, stressing that legal processes are served via court bailiffs, not social media. The dispute stems from unresolved labor issues between PENGASSAN and the private refinery. The General Secretary has instructed members to continue the strike until further notice, warning that only official communication channels should be trusted. Justice Emmanuel Subelim of the National Industrial Court in Abuja had restrained PENGASSAN from proceeding with its planned strike following an ex parte application by Dangote Refinery, argued by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. George Ibrahim. Mr. Ibrahim explained that Dangote Refinery provides essential services critical to Nigeria's economy and public welfare. He adds that recent acts of sabotage by some employees prompted a restructuring affecting certain staff. Now, in the meantime, the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has placed its affiliate unions and members on red alert regarding the ongoing dispute between the Dangote Refinery and the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSAN. In a statement, the NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajero, accused the refinery of violating Nigeria's labor laws, the Constitution, and International Labour Organization conventions. The alleged violations stem from the company's dismissal of workers simply for joining the union. Ajero described the conflict as a symptom of a deeper sickness, a capitalist pathology of union busting, worker enslavement, and gross impunity that defines the group's industrial relations strategy. And now let's begin our conversation today, which centers exactly on the trade dispute between Dangote Refinery and the unionists, the PENGASSAN Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, petroleum workers. And joining us for this conversation is Mr. Theo Alaye, the Ijaw Youth Congress president, who joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Alaye, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
The nature of the meeting from yesterday suggests the difficulty, the conversations, how difficult the conversations may have been between the disputing groups. That's PENGASSAN on the one hand and Dangote management on the other hand. How worried are you that another round may end in a deadlock and the implications of that on the downstream oil sector?
First of all, let me thank the federal government through the Ministry of Labour and Employment and the Finance Minister for calling this quick interventionist meeting to see how you can dialogue between both parties, the Dangote and the PENGASSAN. One thing that is very, very worrisome about this entire issue that is playing out is that the Dangote Refinery, in as much as we are aware, is solely owned by the private sector. And the people that were employed, that are in question, that has been disengaged, has their job description. and the means, the grants on which they can be engaged. So what we are expecting to hear from these people were, number one, if at all the engagement letter, the appointment letter that were given to these staffs also made it very clear that if in terms of gross misconduct, that they will be disengaged from their work. If they try to sabotage the success of the Dangote refinery, they will be disengaged. And if they are found wanting, it is expected that there will be relief of the appointment. The PENGASSAN, on the other hand, we understand they are here to protect workers' rights and job security. While they are doing that, they also have to understand that in the private sector, they also have their own targets. I won't allow someone to be in my company that will want to go against my ideologies and establish protocols for my services.
Mr. Lai.
So, the PENGASSAN,
Mr. Lai, pardon me, Mr. Lai, is unionism, participation in unionism as a private worker, is it tantamount to sabotage?
It all depends on the angle at which the union is coming to play. We have other private sectors, like the NUC that we were talking about. We have private teachers in the Nigerian private school sector. As any of them, or as the labor union approach them to be part of their union, we have even the private transport companies. As the Transport Road Workers Union approach these people for them to be part. So why will the oil and gas sector, where the Dangote refinery is coming to see how they can create job opportunities and also ease the petroleum dreadlock that we have been having in this country over time, is now a bone of contention. Mind you, PENGASSAN and some other union in this country has also found themselves, or they have ganged themselves as a cabal, where they will say that their position stands. Are you also aware the funds they are generating in the name of tax, which affect also the end users in terms of production and distribution? So if Dangote as a company have said that, look, I am a private entity, and as a private entity, my staff has nothing to do with unionism, it is expected of those persons that he has employed to either obey or you disengage yourself from his work. It is his personal company. You can't dictate how he's going to manage his affairs, in as much as workers' welfare and job security and safety is put into consideration.
But the question is, Mr. Lai, the question is if Dangote has complied with international labor conventions in dismissing those staff. Don't forget that PENGASSAN is also alleging lack of personal protective equipment for these staff, is also alleging a reorganization where these staff were laid off, and the top positions in Dangote refinery are held by Indian workers, expatriate workers. These are the issues. If you have skilled workers in Nigeria that can do those jobs, why employ foreign workers? These are the questions that Dangote also needs to answer.
We are all saying the same thing. This is the same Nigeria where we have 3 government-owned refineries, where the PENGASSAN and all the rest, some of their members are staffs. And for the past, let me say, 16 years or thereabouts, these refineries has not been working. Nigerian funds are being used to pay staffs that are being unproductive. And the PENGASSAN find it worthy to support those workers. And they have been mute about the inability of these refineries to come into play. And their concern now is how Nigerian staffs can go and manage Dangote. If Dangote as an individual deem it fit that, look, for XYZ reason, I believe that these are the best expertise that I can use to run my business, I believe it is not out of place. What we should be concerned about is the indigenous workers that he has employed. If he has also met their payments, job security if they are working in terms. That is why I said earlier, the jobs prescription that is given, the job description that is contained in their appointment or employment letter, as the case may be, should be brought to the fore so that all of us can digest it and look, if at all, if you go against the operating standards of Dangote Refinery and the appointment letter or the description say that even though you go against our operation and our ideology, you will be retained in our company or you will be disengaged.
All
so
right.
If they have gone against the job description as contained in the appointment or their employment letter, then they have
All right.
no...
All right, Mr. Laye.
That's
a fair argument that you have made. We must see what exactly is contained in those employment letters. But you spoke to government's responsiveness in this matter, which is debatable because responsiveness is not necessarily waiting until PENGASSAN had to shut down the supply of crude oil to Dangote Refinery before intervening. So I would like you to speak to the role of the regulatory authority in this matter now, in line with relevant laws on both sides of the divide. Why did the government wait to intervene, if indeed it has vested interests in the matter, has positioned by the Minister of Finance, after that meeting?
But as I said earlier before, look, PENGASSAN, in as much as the Nigerian oil and gas industry is concerned, is trying to operate in a cabal kind of manner, which is counterproductive to the Nigerian system and our economy. We have regulatory agencies both in the Ministry of Labor and the oil and gas industry. PENGASSAN is a union. It's not a regulatory organization to see if at all the safety equipment being used by a company is up to date or not. There are regulatory agencies to that effect. We have the DPRO, we have the downstream sector, the upstream. There are a lot of agencies that are shadowed with this responsibility. So if PENGASSAN found it that, or they have identified that Dangote Refinery is not providing protective equipment to the expected standard, it is expected of them to report to the appropriate quarter that has what it takes to sanction Dangote Refinery, and not them trying to sabotage the entire Nigerian system just because they believe that if the Dangote staff or union members are part of their union, their finance base will be increased. They are not even interested in the welfare and the well-being of the worker. It's the fund that will come in terms of payment, dues, that this group of persons will pay to their union that is their concern. And we won't allow a union to stampede an entire important sector like the Dangote Refinery in this contemporary time. If these people really have Nigeria and their workers at heart, believe you me, they would have gone for strike for the 3 refineries that is owned by the Nigerian government that have been non-functional for the past 16 years. But they keep mute to that. The only private refinery that has come to play is the area that they are believing that there are XYZ areas. These people should not be trusted. And that is why when issues of this magnitude come to play, it is expected of the Nigerian government to take the bull by the horn. They have the power to disengage any union that is trying to sabotage the economy of the country. And I believe at this point, they should proscribe the PENGASSAN and allow the sector to be free. In as much as we have the labor ministry that is protecting worker safety and welfare, the PENGASSAN should interfere on issues of this magnitude.
If I may come in there, perhaps in speaking to the role of the regulatory authorities, you meant to refer to the agencies like NMDPRA and NUPRC. We no longer have the Department of Petroleum Resources that you spoke to earlier on. That's the DPR. Now, going forward, what needs to give on both sides of the divide in the bid to protecting the rights of workers and, of course, also to protecting a national asset like Dangote Refinery? What needs to give on both parts from both warring groups now, such that we can move forward, preserve investor confidence, and also protect Nigerian workers?
That is what I'm saying. Dangote has taken the right step. What he has done is the right step for the safety and the survival of his company. You can't be in a private sector and want to be a union member that will be paying dues. If union is going to strike because the federal government or some parastatal or some agencies of the government didn't do well, then you will say that as a result of that, we are members of PENGASSAN. So since PENGASSAN is going on strike, Dangote refinery staff are compelled to go to strike. It will be counterproductive. Crying out loud, this man took a lot of loans to come to this present position or stand that he has gotten. So it would be nice for a private refinery like the Dangote to say that his members should go and join a union. Then when the federal government is now trying to be yield to the members in NNPC, they will say they want to go to strike. And because the Dangote refinery members are members of staffs are members of the union, they will be compelled to go to strike by shutting down. Who is going to pay the loans? This loans period, as we know, as economists, we understand that has period of duration. So Dangote cannot fold his hand and watch some group of persons forcing his staffs to be members of a union that will not be productive to his establishment. So Dangote have taken the right step at the right time. It is our appeal to PENGASSAN that, look, Dangote Refinery is not NNPC. Dangote Refinery is not Petroleum Ministry. So allow him to manage his affairs to the benefit of Nigerian people.
All right, fine place to anchor. Mr. Theo Alaye is the president, Ijaw Youth Congress. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Justice Mohammed Umar of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has fixed October the 27th for the arraignment of Omoyele Sowore. His scheduled arraignment was stalled as a result of non-service of the 5-count alleged cybercrime charge on him. At the day's proceedings, the Director of Public Prosecution from the Ministry of Justice told the court that they were ready to arraign the publisher and former presidential candidates, Mr. Sowore, X Corporation, and Meta, Facebook Incorporated, as first to third respondents, respectively. Mr. Sowore's counsel, Marshal Abubakar, however, told the court that they had not been served the charges. The counsel for the third respondent also aligned himself with Marshal's submission, noting that he was just served in court. The second defendant was not present. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Olukayode Egbetokun, is asking newly called to bar police officers to deploy their legal expertise in strengthening justice delivery and reforming the Nigeria police force. Speaking at the force headquarters, Abuja, IGP Egbetokun describes their achievement as an asset to the force and to Nigeria, stressing that the police cannot succeed in its mandate without officers who understand and apply the law with clarity. The IGP adds that the Nigeria police force does not need lawyers in uniform for decoration, but officers who add value and are prepared to defend the institution with skill, courage, and integrity. He stressed the need for them to strengthen prosecutions, uphold integrity, advise commanders with authority, advance reforms, and inspire other officers coming behind them.
The Nigerian police force is not just an enforcement institution, it's the frontline defender of law and order in this country. We cannot carry out that duty effectively without officers who understand the law in its depth and can apply it with clarity. Policing is about enforcing the law, and no force can do this effectively without sound legal knowledge. The police requires officers who are not only courageous in the field, but also competent in the courtroom and clear in their interpretation of justice. Every action we take must be grounded in the law. Every power we exercise must be backed by the law. And every responsibility we bear must be judged by the law. This is why your achievement matters. Your return to the institution, not just as police officers, but as custodians of legal knowledge. That knowledge must not be idle. It must be put to work to strengthen the force and to serve the people of Nigeria.
And you have been served your Lunchtime Politics edition for today. Thank you for watching. There's more to come through the week. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.